Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, world. This is the badass, the man from Buzzwalk, better known as JahBunny, the badass. And I'm here telling my life journey as a Rasta fundamental baby coming up. As I said before, my life was very complex. And I've been in and out, up and down, and around the world. Today, I have seen where 3/4 of the elders them have trod on to the ancestors. And now we have a young generation of so-called Rastas. But these young generation Rasta is now confused and going around in circles. You have one them called Juna Lagos. The other day I hear him utter that South Africa is now putting in programs for repatriation. But if I am correct, this Juna Lagos was the same one them say we caused the eruption and for us to lose catch part. Now, I, JahBunny, have actually lived in South Africa for a couple of years. And I am here to tell you now, going to South Africa is like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. If you go back and check the journey, I already speak on certain things, so I'm not going to speak about it again. But what I have noticed in this new Rastafari, because it's a new thing, is that it focuses mainly upon dreadlocks. Mainly, so if you don't have dreadlocks, them now to listen to you. So I find say everything when me did really talk and come tell you now, some other Rasta now come and say it like it origin, like it's original thing. Now, Juna, I invite Rasta to come together to come to South Africa. Me already telling you say South Africa is a place where xenophobic rampant. So, right now, Juna Lagos under subjection. And I look company. Yeah, because is subject. Una go a South Africa go put on yourself under subjection, you know. Because a number game South Africa play. Now, the only thing I see Rasta, because I talk when I say, the only thing I see Rasta go Africa and do is build tabernacle. I don't see them build no house in the state or nothing. It's tabernacle. Now tell me how that makes sense. That you go build tabernacle. So it's on a place of worship. You a go Africa go build. And then I tell me if I come home. Anyway, I just run my African brethren, Marpens, Nakumba, and him tell you how him feel. But this is part 2 of my good brother, Nakumba. So, come again, my brother. Come tell them and speak your mind.
What's going on, JahBunny? I got a question, a couple of questions for the brother, man. Like, by you know, you can set a lot of people. You know what I'm saying, you got the power, brothers, to set some minds free, man. You know what I mean? A lot of people, people are listening to you. You can tell by the views you have in your videos. They listen to you. You know, they may not comment or like it, but you can see the views. You know what I'm saying? So you can set some young minds free. You know what I'm saying? If I was seeing you 20 years, 30 years ago, I could have saved a lot of time, you know. It's not nobody being no traitor, ain't nobody running the internet and stuff like that. I talk passionately and yell and raise my voice. This is the way I am. It's not, you know, it's just. What I was gonna ask you was, like when your father, Mortimer Planner, met His Majesty on the airplane and things like that. I basically like, or him or anybody else who met Haile Selassie, did anybody ask Haile Selassie, or even with the thought, nobody understood like they want to ask him, that's the main question that, like the $1 million question that people like, you know, want to hold outside of that question that people don't want to talk about. But anybody ask Selassie, like, why black people was in slavery, or why Jamaica was in slavery, or why Jamaica was, like, why was black people poor like that in slavery? Or even why like people were just still poor in Ethiopia? Or about like what was his feelings towards the other people in the other Caribbean, like Guyana and you know, Trinidad and other parts of the Caribbean? What was his feelings towards them, and how he felt about the black people in Canada and the other black people? Some of this common sense stuff, so that way that people don't have this idea, and you know they don't waste their 20s, you know, smoking their stuff away, and or just, you know, being this mythical metaphor, you know, like you said, you know, this metaphor way of thinking. Everything got to be an allegory. Everything got to be, you know, instead of just being some sort of straight up. So those are the kind of questions. I mean, because yeah, it's in that from a common sense point of mind. That should have been the first thing somebody should have asked. I mean, but after, you know, before the praise, before, you know, the automatic praise, if a person believed or understood or thought or knew this thing, what they say, you know, but the power or the thing. I mean, why nobody had it? Is it too much of a? Is it wrong? I mean, would it have been wrong? Would it have been wrong to ask Haile Selassie why he was in Jamaica? Like, why are black people suffering the way we are suffering in Jamaica? And what you gonna do about it? And so you gotta save that part for yourself, or you gotta save that part for yourself, and then say later on, okay, I know what that meant. When he said that, that must have meant that. And after he said that, that means that, that means that. I mean, it's just simple, you know, simple stuff like that could have just been solved. It don't have to be this mystery type thing. But as a teenager, listening to them videos, watching the videos, and you have a person like Rita Marley, you know, when he comes to Jamaica, you know, then I see him with that nail print, and I see that nail print on his hand. I mean, what kind of shit is that? What is that? I mean, is that real? This is the bottom of the thing right here. I mean, this is the ground. I mean, this is the. I mean, the thing is, this is the house that Bob Marley is built on. You know, you can't. People can't change that stuff now. The man is dead now. I mean, you can't rewrite somebody's story. This man, he built his house on that stuff. No matter what somebody try to redirect or try to edit out, you got videos of the man saying this stuff. The man thinking that Haile Selassie was actually the God who created the earth, who made plants and trees and that kind of stuff. And nobody not trying to metaphor nothing. I'm not trying to metaphor nothing. You're talking about, right. You're talking about the person whose mind was at that level. I mean, people deal with emotions where they want to act like, no, that's the emotion. That's what I'm trying to say. This is why, they take advantage of a simple mind. There's no mystery behind, there's no mystery behind that stuff. Bob Marley actually thought that Haile Selassie was the return Christ from that same Bible that somehow died somehow long ago and came back to life. Then I'm saying, but it leaves out the question if a God can be killed and come back. All that's what I'm saying. That's not my rabbit hole to go down. That's not my rabbit hole to go down. But I'm saying that's what they're going to put that stuff on the next young mind for them to go down that rabbit hole. While they sit there in poverty and smoke and trying to find out why they're in poverty, instead of asking them when the stuff is as clear as day. White supremacy. It's nothing hard to figure out. You don't have to go running around the world, and it's all it boils down to. Because the same people right now will find a reason and say, well, this Bob Marley guy, he died at 36, it was a reason, the guy must have sent him, and all that. The same people who say that stuff like that. But then you got the same people who talk to this judge and stuff about, if the people right now who put my grandmothers and grandfathers and people like that in slavery, if their ancestors are still here, I don't have no problem with all of them disappearing. That's what I'm saying. That's my thing. And people need to see this the same way. If Bob Marley didn't do nothing to nobody and he left like that, they're supposed to be able to go the same way. And there shouldn't be no feelings about it's no emotional thing like that. Because people going backwards in a circle. The world eventually is going to all be black. That's just reality. That's just reality. The world is going to be black. So all these people, even with the mixed kids, mulattoes turn black eventually. I'm saying albinos turn black, the brownies turn black eventually. That's just reality. And some things, I get emotional. You know what I'm saying? We gotta take ourselves out of that emotional thing. Take ourselves out of that emotional thing like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Some of this basic stuff and this illusion with this mystery thing could be taken out and it could be just looked at face value. Without all the mystery, without all the other stuff put into it. Because I'm saying they stuffing this stuff down people's throat, and that's their thoughts. These white guys asking this young dude at 34 and 35 years old all these questions about life and like, how are you supposed to know this stuff like this? And they passing this stuff down, but I'm saying, but they're not listening to this stuff about no Selassie and Haile Selassie. They taking what they want from it and using it against themselves. They're using it. They took what they wanted. And, okay, now we know marijuana ain't bad. Marijuana got these good properties to it. Oh, now we know that. Okay, yeah, so it is good to have a vegetarian diet or eat good. So now we know that. That's what I'm saying. That's what they did. They didn't. The thing to me would have been if these guys, the Rasta, the reggae people. I don't know. This is not a Rasta thing. I'm not going to say Rasta. I'm just saying the reggae Rasta. The reggae Rasta. Their perception, I don't know, I guess they're telling the world, but you get some of the songs, lower your dreadlocks, back for what? That's how everybody struggle, that's that thing, I think, the world didn't have to be Rasta. The whole world shouldn't have to have been Rasta. Just to make it, could have had Rasta just, you know what I'm saying? I figured that out myself. That's why I'm saying that's not, that's Jamaica thing. That's how, you know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing wrong with that. That's our thing. But that thing is not coming from, I understand that, Jamaica might want the popularity from the Bob Marley thing and thing like that, but that stuff is not representing the people, it's not representing if you think, no, it's representing exactly what it is. You're talking about a man who was young, who thought the things he didn't lie, because you got Christians who think the same thing. But this is the same thing that leads to this stuff, is what I'm saying. It's the same thing about this some other person saving you and this guy coming back to life, but the whole thing behind it is still white supremacy. It's still, you know what I'm saying? It's still the same stuff at the end of the day. It's still the same thing. A way to keep you complacent while you sitting right here trying to be good and then goody two shoes and try to be this saint for God. While white people and other people living up there, man, they living their life enjoying the earth. While you sitting around talking about God and all this other. can't turn poverty and despair into a lifestyle, and that shouldn't be that shouldn't be the goal. That shouldn't be the goal to turn poverty and despair into a lifestyle or a culture or a brand. That don't make no sense. Anybody would from we were all children at one time. I've owned every one of single. I owned every one of Bob Marley albums as a teenager, as the 20s and the 30s. I mean, but when you look at things from a distance and not from an emotional point, some stuff really don't make sense. It make what sense does it make for a black Jamaican to be in the Netherlands telling a whole crowd full of Europeans, no matter where you come from, you're an African, or telling somebody in Wales, them belly full but we hungry. What they gonna do about it? I mean, you telling them people in Europe that stuff for what? Well, okay, what they gonna do about it? Well, how is that their problem? That would have been the same. It would have been the same thing like Martin Luther King going to Germany and telling you, well, I have a dream. I mean, okay, you got a dream, okay, and what about it? But they're taking the thing too far, because I'm saying some of the places the people they didn't even know the words, and people just listen to the music, and that was enough. I mean, you have to take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing that the music did come around, and black people, some people did, some got a chance to hear it, and the thing like that. But the thing is that I mean, people now don't have to continue that thing like that. I mean, life is not supposed to be no revolutionary fight. Because white people not doing that. Indians and Chinese ain't doing that. They ain't got to stand up for their rights and be a rebel and sacrifice and wrap their head. They don't have to do none of that shit. And they doing everything that y'all want to do. They're not doing. I'm not saying everything that y'all want is what I'm saying, but they got the thing that you want. I mean, yeah, you can keep it. It don't mean changing morality. It don't mean changing any of. But I'm saying, who y'all want the same stuff. That Chinese man and that Indian man in Jamaica who sell y'all stuff will get rich off of y'all, and that Syrian will get rich off of y'all. He want a house for his kids to go to a school. He want his kids to work. It's the same stuff that y'all want. And they're going 3,000 years in the future to go 1,000 years ahead. And none of that stuff make no. At the end of the day, it don't make no sense. I'm saying and then because you got things that's happening because nobody ain't gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying, man? Because it's not. I mean, all the money that Bob Marley makes, his children do deserve that money. Eddie Marley family member deserve that money they made. You know what I'm saying? The white people, yeah, that's his kid. They deserve that money they made. But I'm saying that thing. Black people have enough sense to understand what the thing is. I mean, not to be labeling. I mean, because that basically, Jamaica try to ride on this coattail of saying, "Oh, yeah, at least we got." That would be like me saying, "At least we got Michael Jackson, or at least we got Michael Jordan, or at least we got Jay-Z." What the fuck is all that doing for me? Nothing. Nothing. What is Bob Marley doing for Jamaica? I mean, yeah. I mean, that's my thing. I mean. And that's what, yeah, man. They turn into, yeah. Turning the whole island, they're turning the whole island of people, a whole nation of people back into complacent slaves. You know what I'm saying? That's what the thing is. Y'all have more power than the black Americans got. I mean, the people in Africa y'all have more power than we have. They got the numbers. That's a big difference. I have the numbers. I mean, it's like some of these people. I mean, even all these people that's coming in now from all these different Latino countries and shit like that. Nobody wants to be a black. Nobody don't want nobody don't want to do a civil rights thing in their own country. Nobody don't want the march. Nobody don't want them dogs in their water holes sprayed at them. They don't want none of that shit in their own country. They rather just say fuck it, they go the other way, or we pray and God will save. We do it different, but God will save us. I mean, well, and he hasn't yet. Because you can see some stuff with your own eyes, and like, how somebody believe that, but you can still do it yourself. Like, wow, because you talk yourself into. I mean, I've seen because some of us right now have some of us up until this day, right now in 2023, we still have not seen no God yet, and then somehow we still got this idea that some of this guy or this thing is still just waiting to come back for us, or going to come back for us one of these days, and we had the worst conditions happen already, and the worst conditions was not, I'm saying, it was, got solved as far as the worst of the worst. As far as the chattel slavery and some of that stuff got solved. No, God never came down and said, okay, you, all you people, let my people go. Nobody, that stuff never happened. It never happened. That's fantasy. That's fantasy. Nobody shouldn't have to go pray to no God to be set free from no slavery for somebody doing wrong to them. You know, if there's this conscience made, I mean, listen, on black people got laws. I mean, I see the thing happen here in America the same way. A generation gap. What happened was when black people were chased out of the South in America, we lost a generation of people. Black people got into Christianity out of using psychology against white people. It was never meant for us to be no Christians or be no church. We took the shit they were saying and used it against them. It's as simple as that. We hear these people every Sunday talking about this guy going to do this and this guy does that and this guy says that this person is that. So we learning these after being out here for maybe the first couple hundred years. We hearing these people say these words, so now we know what English words mean. So we hearing them say this. So hold on, we saying to ourselves that well, these people believe that, so we say these prayers right back to them. We start saying this stuff right back to them, so it fucked with their conscience. It never meant that we had to believe in no Jesus. That's the part that people get lost in translation. I mean, people get too hooked up into this stuff. We just made them people make sense out of their shit. We don't supposed to keep holding on to that stuff no more. That was a tactic. It was a mental tactic, not something that's supposed to be used forever. The same way like Bob Marley music is. That's not something you're supposed to just. I mean, that's a tactic or a tool in a list of tools. It's not something to look forward to. Nobody not supposed to look forward to no struggling in life and none of that shit like that. Or suffering or think some God gonna make something better for you. Like no. I mean, it's just right. I mean, right is right. The words righteousness and those are not black. Those are words that's some English. I mean, some Greek. Those are not even words that people. I mean, those are not words that normal civilians even use. Those are not words that people talk about, righteousness and all that. It don't make no sense. That sounds like somebody, I mean, we lock ourselves in these corners with this thing and it's until we gotta, I mean, black people have to understand that we're not in slavery because we didn't believe in God enough or because we didn't do this enough. I mean, you gotta call people wrong when they're wrong. White people was wrong for doing what they did. It's as simple as that. And take no, I mean, none of that, curse, generational curse, Ham did this and all that nonsense shit. That's not, because I don't have to go 5,000 years in the past to see what they're doing it right now. I see cops shooting out black people right now, going off and go home free. They don't get no time. I don't have to go back in no fucking Bible to see that. I don't have to go back in no time to see that. I don't need no God to tell me that. No, I mean, none of that shit but get to see reality. I don't need none of that stuff to see reality. And it seems, man, but yeah, JahBunny, like that, the questions like that could be, could like, it could cut out a lot of confusion. And it also can get a lot of questions answered that some people may be too timid or too scared to ask, because some simple question, because it takes this mystery out of stuff. If Rasta is a black power movement, I mean, if it was a black power movement that was for black, it shouldn't have been no confusion about no other. I mean, this is what I don't understand, because I mean, it don't take nobody to read. You ain't got to read no Bible to understand that motherfucker. You in an island that both black people don't own and everybody poor look like you. You don't need to read no Bible to see that. You don't have to have no religion. I mean, that's as clear as day. I mean. Yeah, everything is as clear as day, man. It's right there in front of people's face like that. But yeah, this could clear a lot of that stuff like that. Like, because you do have people out here who really looking to holding on to this thing like that. You got people thinking that Bob Marley is Jesus and all this old crazy shit, and that kind of stuff don't help black people. It may help them white guys who got the time and the money to sit around and get high and hang around black people for 20 and 30 years and go right back to their mother and father and it's over and right back into the money. I mean, they can fall back to their reality when they finish having their fun. They got parents. They can do that kind of shit like that. Black people don't have time to waste on that shit like that. So before this thing need to go to Africa, before somebody start pushing education, before somebody start talking that stuff, Africans and shit, they don't need to be hearing about no religion and shit like that, because that stuff ain't did no good for nobody. And nobody not going to Africa with a message about being doctors and, you know what I'm saying, doing other stuff and caring about the environment and shit like that. The way you got the foreign companies over there that's coming fucking the water up, dealing and drilling shit. And people need to put that religion shit in the back burner and just deal with reality. To deal with reality and put the emotions to the side and to deal with reality. Ain't nobody no superhuman. Ain't nobody no super black. You're a regular black person like everybody else. It's the same damn. You're a regular human being or a regular black person like everybody else. A good black person or a bad black person. You're still a black person. But the sad thing is that, you know what I'm saying, there's some good people. Ain't like everybody who believes in Jesus is not a bad person. Everybody who believes in God or religion or Selassie or any of them, they don't mean they're a bad person. But it comes to a point when that's supposed to be a hobby at a certain point in time. You know what I'm saying? When you have social injustices happen, you have to put that thing into perspective. When you start adding that thing into this being a part of your normal day life, and then you absorb sufferation into religion and say, oh, that's all a part of it. We got to fulfill the book. Nah, man, that's when it becomes ignorance. That's when it becomes something different. Because that's not doing anything. And the Jamaicans who don't come to America and who don't leave their country and who don't go around, when people don't come here, when them people, listen, because it's not free, you know what I'm saying? It's not a free thing. They might not want to realize it like that, but yeah, they might not want to see the reality of the whole thing when they come here. Because when they do come here, that's all they're doing. They're paying into a system. Their tax money is going to the military-industrial complex. Their tax money is going to build nuclear bombs. Their tax money is going to go invade other countries. So I'm saying, yeah, you can come to America and talk about America when black Americans are lazy, they don't want to work. But yeah, you're taking upon way more than what you think you're taking upon. You're supporting something that, but then some of them are coming in willy-nilly. You gotta call them out. Some come willy-nilly, willing to join their thing like that, willing to go join the system to go battle people countries around the world. It's a gamble. It's a price you take to do the things you do. You know what I'm saying? When people leave their country, Africa and America, and come here, they might build a house. They're gonna get a family for their kids, send their kids to school, get the Rhodes Scholars and all that. If that's moving up, okay, you can have it. Move up. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so put things into perspective. Everybody not talking. You know what I'm saying? Them people like that. Yeah, of course they need that God thing because to clear their conscience. They know what they're paying into. You're paying into the military-industrial complex. When you come to this country, the money, when you put your money in these banks, when they give you these loans, don't act like you don't know what the hell you're coming here to do. So I can understand it. Maybe this is why they love white people the way they love white people. White people, I mean, you got these foreigners coming in. No, all of them do it. It sounds only Jamaicans, everyone, all of them people, I mean, Mexicans, African, everybody, they come here. They come over here and actually support the oppression in their own goddamn home countries. And come over here and say, oh, you black American, you don't want to work too hard, you don't want to work, and you can come, yeah. And don't act like, because nobody don't want to be them, you know what I'm saying? Nobody don't want to be the they. No, nobody don't want to be them and they, and nobody want to be them and they. When they even they, yeah, nobody don't want to be they. They want to be the other ones who's been done to, but they don't want to see themselves as the one doing it.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, so this, it just seems like countries where you have majority populations of black people like that. It seems like countries should be run by black people, and that shouldn't even be nothing that's radical. That shouldn't even be nothing that's revolutionary. That should just be common sense type thinking. It should be common sense type thinking.
Yes, Nakuma. Well said. But
in Ethiopia, you'll hear Ethiopia was never colonized, the only country that was never colonized. And a lot of Rastafarian brethren will tell you this. Ethiopia was never colonized.
Ethiopia is the first country in Africa to be colonized by religion. No, but you see, the truth must not massage. We must not massage the truth. We must not. This is unpopular opinion. This is not your contemporary opinion. Is that when it is written in the Kebra-Negas, when the Queen of Sheba visited Solomon, she said in the conversation with Solomon, she said, "I worship the sun. Some people in my country worship the moon and others worship the stars." She's basically talking about religious tolerance that existed there. 6 months after sitting with Solomon, she came back with the God of Solomon. She declared that from now on, all of you, we no more worship God we used to worship. She's basically destroying religious freedom. She introduced monotheism. We will now worship the God of Israel, not the God of Ethiopia. Now tell me if that is not religious colonialism. That you introduce that from now on, we are going to worship the God of my boyfriend. You understand? Which most of the Ethiopians themselves never saw King Solomon. That is why among the Oromos, they will tell you that the Solomonic dynasty, or the myth of Solomon and Sheba, it is a myth based on fornication and theft.
yes, Rasta people. That's what Rasta have become today. The button joke of Black American and African brothers and sisters. Yet we still carry this thing and I deal with this thing when, like I said from day one, this was a liberation movement. Something that was supposed to free I and I. But it seemed that it ended up put I and I back in captive. So now, the music is the main thing that put us in captivity. How are we going to change this? This is the question now, because everybody now want to be the next Bob Marley. Here it is. They are filming a new Bob Marley segment that should have hold for the next 100 years. And I can't see how it will help us. I can't see how Rastafari, Haile Selassie, I will help I and I. I can't see that. I can't see that. But in part 3, I will show you the real confusion now, because part 3, I will reveal now how you have all these Rasta so-called organization hierarchy And all they do is talk and bicker amongst each other. So hold tight for part 3.